gonna do. That's what we do. We make it happen around here. Oh, hey now. Hey now. Bam.
Live.
We got the tripod 4 ways going over there.
Hopefully we're not gonna drop anything.
Yeah, hopefully we're not gonna drop anything. Hey, we can get a little tilt to the. Got somebody with OCD. They're trying to change their some OCD people trying to change their lens in the camera.
My bad.
You know, well, we make do with what we got now, and I know you guys is getting good quality stuff right now. So again, appreciate you all for being committed and consistent to stopping through here to hear the spills that we talk about. I'm gonna start by saying, welcome. It's me, Brett Brown, THRETT. CMCC is the movement, change media, change culture. We come to this place of enlightenment. We come to this place of better understanding, getting to know each other, getting to understand differences, cultural differences, and how do we learn to communicate better in order to build these broken relationships, which is very, very, very healthy for all of us. You hear it in the background, 432 frequency. Enter the room with 432 frequency. It is the frequency that keeps everybody in humble abode.
And understanding.
Understanding. Yeah, so, yeah, that's me, Threat Brown.
I'm Dorothy Anthony, and I am here ready to talk about some stuff.
Some stuff.
So last week, we talked about women, and we didn't talk about them, but...
Yeah. Let's be mindful. We didn't talk about them.
But we talked about their struggle with dating and relationships and stuff, and how sometimes they bring baggage. Well, and everybody has baggage, but they bring it into a new relationship. And we're talking about how to kind of get past that and come to an understanding within yourself and with your partner.
Yeah.
And how to handle that from another person. So we're doing the flip side of that today.
Flip side. Turn the coin.
Talking about men in that same struggle.
Yeah. Yeah. Men in that same struggle. And it is a situation, know, that a lot of the times we undermined, especially from a male perspective, we undermined the outcomes of things that we potentially know what the outcome is going to be.
Right.
So jumping into that conversation is it's uncomfortable to a lot of men, I know, because most men be like, man, I ain't trying to hear all of that. You know what I'm saying? And just keep it pushing.
Yeah.
That's our go-to. That's our comfort zone. That's our norm. So we need to break our norms and be more engaged and at the table to really have this unfiltered conversation about what are we doing. And if you're in a relationship with somebody and you guys are trying to figure out what you're doing, and it's very important to have the time to sit down and really talk about it, because that's one of the only ways that really get to a solution or answer or an agree to disagree.
Right.
Even more so too.
Communication is key.
Right. Also, y'all can check into the CMCC 1080 TV YouTube channel. It's also running live right now too, so be mindful of that.
Yeah, if you've watched or will watch any of these videos, go to the YouTube page. It's CMCC 1080 TV.
Yeah.
And like and subscribe and do all that.
Yeah, and share it. Tell people about it, because we're going to get better at it. That's all we're doing.
Yeah. It's an experiment. We talk about that. We're going on the journey with us, trying to figure this whole thing out.
Yeah. Pretty soon it's going to be mastermind. Pretty soon we're going to have all of the gadgets and the whole components laid out. Blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
And you guys are going to be a part of it. So your presentation, your presence is valued to us, and we really do appreciate that.
Yep.
Got a lot of powerful people in there already tuning in. Thank y'all for shopping in.
And feel free to comment on the video as we're talking, so we can get kind of some of your opinions too.
Keep your comments and anything that you have to say at a 432 frequency. You can say what you want to say, express how you feel like you want to express. Just make sure that you keep it at a tone that's productive and positive, because you don't have to come through here yelling. And please don't come through here yelling and cussing and flashing and flaring.
Right.
Because you will get 86 ASAP, no Rocky.
I mean, if it's all about communication and understanding, everybody's going to have their opinion.
Yeah.
And, it's always seemed pointless to try to fight that on the internet. So, just we can have the conversation without being mad about it.
We can, and we will. So shall we have.
We shall. So let's start with the lack of commitment.
From men
specifically.
Okay. So fellas, and I don't speak for every man on the face of the planet. And the first thing I want to do say is that shout out to all of the relationships that are figuring out ways to stay healthy and stay committed, because there's some relationships that are in the old fashioned traditional way that are long lasting. This is longevity relationships that people are creating. And in this generation that we have right now, and not talking about the new generation of people, we're just talking about this generation at this time of era that we're living in right now. It's like an epidemic that sits upon a lot of men and our abilities to lack commitment to a relationship for a long period of time. Because you were saying, like, we don't see relationships that's really doing 5 to 10 years anymore.
Yeah.
Most relationships is lasting in between about a year, 2 years.
Right.
I give it 3 years at the max.
Yep.
And then boom, it's cut off. Why is that? Is what people want to know. Excuse me for clearing my throat. Mom, if you're tuning in, I'm drinking water. I'm getting better at it. So when I say about men is that a lot of the times men are running from a situation that we fail to keep realizing, like we said prior to these interviews or these videos, we're running away from something that we created.
Yeah.
You know, we created a traumatized woman. We created a woman that struggles with trying to figure out her place in this world, figure out her place in the relationship, figure out who she is and the power that she do possess. We've altered that as far as the man race. We've altered that concept of a woman so much that most women are traumatized and they are all over the place trying to figure it out. And then now we're like, I'm not going to deal with all of that.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And so when you get in a relationship with somebody and it gets choppy and the river gets a little more rapid than the smooth flowing, because we want to just be in a smooth sailing relationship. And it's like, we have to understand our problem, us as being the problem. How do we create an issue with wanting to be around somebody that we feel like we can't tolerate, or deal with a woman that we feel like is too complex for us to just sit here and just keep trying. However, there is a line in all relationships to where a person has to know when they need to stop, right, and when it needs to opt out. But the lack of communication on both parts and the lack of acceptance and accountability on our part as men is what we don't want to do most of the time.
Right.
We don't want to be responsible for what we created. We just want women to get over it.
Yeah.
Well, is what they say, right? Yeah. And you know, we don't do that get over here at the 1080 CMCC 1080 TV. No. It's not about getting over it. It's about communicating and talking through it.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, that's interesting that you put it that way. Men starting the problem.
Yeah, we created this mess.
So I can understand, because it gets frustrating. The whole dating thing gets frustrating. It's all mostly online now, because that's how people meet. But no matter how or where you meet somebody, it seems like, from a woman's perspective, it seems like it's kind of the same thing that you come across. Most of the time for me, and I've talked to others too, the guys are looking for hookups up into their 40s. And I'm just like, so yeah. That's it? Like, there's no, and this goes for just, friendships too. There's no like getting to know people on a deeper level and having conversations with people, like these kind of conversations. Right. It just doesn't happen. Y'all just go hang out, you go play basketball, you go to a movie, whatever, but you don't ever have any kind of a serious conversation. And not that it has to be serious all the time, but like,
there has to be some understanding, some communication going on.
Yeah, you got to get to know all sides of people, especially if you're going to be in a relationship with people. And there just doesn't seem to be much of that going on anymore.
I'm gonna say this on behalf of men, because I don't know the functions of a woman's brain or a woman's mindset, but I'm gonna say, because on men's part, I know as men, some dudes don't want to have this conversation about honesty and where we stand, because most dudes feel like we're gonna miss the opportunity to smash or whatever they're trying to do. Yeah. They feel like if I just be open with the woman and just tell her where I'm standing, where I'm at, I only want a one night stand. I want to just do this and keep it pushing. Most dudes feel like if I be that honest, I'm not going to get nowhere. And I done had conversations with women. It was like, man, look, just be honest with me, because if you be honest with me, I might be on the same page that you're on. Right. Maybe we need to just do that and keep it pushing, but don't come with the game. And a lot of times, men, they put the game card on the table to woo a person or, get the woman's attention. And once he's accomplished that, then he's doing the baited in. And then I know I've been in relationships or, even in the dating scene, so where I've been talking to people and and we get to the point where I'm gonna come to the table up front and I'm gonna say, that I'm so focused on what I'm doing with my business that I'm not looking for a relationship and whatever that looks like. But I start to realize that it's not that simple when a person communicate and talk with each other, but until we understand like the full capacity of the actual honest conversation,
right.
That even if both parts are like, okay, we could just be cool, hang out, or whatever the case may be, there's always going to be some feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And then most dudes are able to just cut their feelings off because, again, we've been trained and raised to just chop the feelings at the top and don't even worry about it because that's our conditioning. And most women, they're not, I'm not saying that they're not capable of doing so, but for most women, they're so more emotionally involved. If it goes to another level, women become more emotionally involved. And it's important for men to know that almost that fact that the matter. You can say we're just here to chill and kick it, but if you're fooling around, then you have to know that feelings are going to be involved. And so if you know that and you're not trying to really commit yourself, then how do you start having that truthful, honest understanding with yourself to say, all right, I don't want to do that, but also fall into the place of relationships. Now, I would say for the behalf of men, it is hard. It is real hard when we do attempt to have a relationship and a woman's personality hasn't warped around to healing and her starting to heal herself, and that it becomes draining. And, it comes draining every single day. We got to go through the same, issues. But what I would say to reflect that too is that we got to understand that this is something that we created as a culture of men. People before us created this element and this type of mindset to where we also have to fight against our norms of being conditioned to think and operate in certain ways. So it's a lot on our part to make sure that we can grow relationships because we are the potential ones to help grow the relationship more so than the woman, because we have to understand what has been. It's like the Frank, I created a monster, and now that you created a monster and the woman's trying to cope, we don't want to deal with that.
Right.
Go figure it out first and then come and talk to me.
Yeah, it don't
work. No, that doesn't work.
It doesn't, because humans are complex, and there's always problems, and there's always things that you've gone through that you're going to carry with you probably for your whole life.
Mm-hmm.
So there's going to be flare-ups of emotions and anger and whatever that don't necessarily have anything to do with the person that you're in the relationship with, but that's where the understanding comes in, where you have to be able to open up to somebody, and if you trust them enough and really feel that it's worth it, tell them what it is that you're going through. And that goes on either side of the coin, because naturally, usually, women want to help and want to heal and want to be the shoulder that you can cry on. Men don't want to open up. We've talked about that.
Right.
So, while women express their emotions, whether they want to or not, in whatever way it comes out, and men are shutting it all down, but they still have that stuff there. So, it's just, I think, a matter of, you really just can't trust people these days.
Right.
And it sucks to say that, but that's why a lot of people don't talk about their stuff. And we see how, a lot of kids especially have been going through all this stuff in their mind because of what's going on at home or whatever they're going through, and then they end up committing suicide. And nobody ever has a clue because they don't know somebody that they can go to or feel like they can. So it's the same thing with the relationship. You have to be able to, if you're going to be in a relationship with somebody, I would think that you feel like you can trust them.
Right.
If not, then why are you there?
Right. True. I would agree.
And then you have to be careful with that person's trust. So. Because
honestly, most dudes is a gamer. Yeah. That's why I'd be so afraid for like young women. Extremely, like, for sure, young women. I'd be so afraid for them because they're so gullible. They're gullible because they are pleasers. They are pleasers, and it's in their nature. It's in both natures, but I'm just looking at the demographics of women. It's in a woman's nature to be a pleaser. We both provide, but it's just that's what they want to do. And if we go traditionally old-fashioned, the woman takes care of everything. She cooks, she feeds, she cleans, she does the laundry. She makes sure the home's taken care of, and there's some women that still carry themselves that way right now, which is cool. If that's how they operate in a relationship, perfectly cool with everything, and so when we move forward into the circumstances that we're in right now, most dudes, they like when you say we cut off our feelings. So if you got a person that's emotionally sharing and a person that's emotionally shut down, trying to make something happen, then that relationship is not going to last.
No.
And one of the main reasons is that there's no compromise in a relationship. And I believe that the compromising component should be at the table. And it's not something that, well, back in the day, people will be able to go and talk to their grandparents because their grandparents is in these long lasting relationships. And if you need some couples relationship, a lot of the therapists wasn't going to therapy. It was going to talk to your elders, because the elders was like, well, we go through it. We argue, me and your dad or me and your granddad, we argue all the time. But they stick it out and they fight it through. Do people do their things on the side at times? It's a lot happening in relationships. Who's to say that a 60, 70-year-old relationship, somebody didn't fall off, but they still knew how to communicate with each other because they said that they was in it for better or for worse, long-term concepts, and they fought through the hard times. And I believe that with both parts, it's fighting through the hard times. If you're in a relationship, you must fight through the hard times. And again, the problem is that dudes want to fight, men, we want to fight through the relationship, but the trauma part, it's like, it's overwhelming, and it's like, oh, it's too much emotion, that we feel that we deal with. And we get so burnt to the point to where if we don't deal with our own emotions, it's hard to deal with somebody else's emotions, but that's the problem with men. So the moment we start dealing with our own emotions, then it teaches us how to deal with an emotional relationship and develop and build on that, which makes it more beneficial to both parts to understand how we need to do this. Because there are some people that I do know right now that have been dating since young, and they've been in the same relationship for a long time right now. So again, I like to give appreciation and more blessings and more hopes and thoughts to those people that are doing it, because you are becoming the examples of long-lasting relationships are still present. We just don't see it as much as we should see if you are in a committed relationship with somebody.
I know some people too that have been in well, my parents for one. Let's see. So it'll be 47 years for them in June. So, and I know they have had their ups and downs. They still do. But again, it's like you're gonna commit to something, and it might, whether it's just a couple year relationship or wherever you're at with it, you have to be able to sit down with the person and talk to them and say, this is what we want out of this relationship, from his perspective, from your perspective, and really kind of lay down a little bit of a foundation. I mean, I know a lot of people say they want to go with the flow, and you can, but you still have to know where you stand and know what it is that the other person wants, because from jump, you can turn around and say, I don't think this is going to work. And then, save yourself a bunch of time and heartache and whatever, So I think it seems like it's getting worse.
It is. It is getting worse.
The younger the guys are, it's like that whole concept of committing to somebody, it's just not even there anymore. So, I mean, 30, 40-year-old guys now, like I said, are still looking for hookups. And may never have been married and probably don't ever want to get married and whatever, and that's everybody's decision. But it's like, at what point do you want to stop running or playing games or playing women? It's like, and that's where I think a lack of compassion, lack of empathy, which is a whole other topic, but that falls into place here, because if you're able to play that card and say, oh, I'm all about it, I want to get involved, I want to do this, do that, and then you're just getting what you want, and then you split. To be able to do that to somebody, it sucks. And a lot of women do that too. I won't lie, because I've heard from some of my guy friends that they run across women that are just, that's all they want. So this generational thing.
Which it scares me too, because this is one of the things that I would say to, like, especially the women generation, or just the species of women. I'm gonna say species because I like that word. The being a species of women. That scares me when I hear a woman say, well, if he can sleep around and everybody look at him like he's a player, but when we do it, it's like we're dogs or whatever. My only thing is that if you look at a man that sleeps around and you consider him to be a tramp or a dog, why want to be something like that? Why want to say if they can do it, then we should be able to do it too, Wow. But in actuality, you like, why are y'all even playing games with us like that? So don't sell yourself shorter, by trying to be on the same equal patterns. Right. You don't want to be on the same pattern with a dog. You know what I'm saying? Because there are some good dudes out here, and a lot of the times I do see that some of the relationships that I've seen, to where I have friends that are loyal and they're 100% down and they're in a relationship. They provide, they work hard, but they're just not rough enough. Sometimes most women, a lot of women that I do come across and I realize in real life, whether they're friends or whoever they may be, or people that I just meet in casual conversations, some of these people say, he's just a little too soft, and it's like, but he's a provider, the dude bringing home, he's doing everything possible, but you calling him soft because he's doing what a woman really wants in a relationship. He's making sure that the bacon's on the table, and he's helping you cook the bacon, you know what I'm saying? And he's helping you grind the cheese as you bring the cheese home, so that frustrates a lot of men that make them like, well, I'm almost going to never be able to live up to this expectation. So they bounce around from here to there because they feel that, well, since women are so traumatized and so broken to the degree of their commitment level to them is like it's almost hit and miss, then they feel like, because we feel like sometimes, what sense does it make to even get in a relationship if you going to just keep bringing the same drama to the table every single day, every morning? When I walk out the door, you're going to expect something. But what I would say to justify a lot of these things is that men kill me because sometimes I see heated relationships in the dating world. And if I see my homeboy texting a chick on the phone or something, if I see him texting on the phone and his girl leave out the house, and let's say she forgot something and she came back in the house and he don't hear her coming in the house and he on his phone texting, and he be like, and he'll put the phone down. And she'd be like, why you in a hurry, put your phone down? And the first thing he would say is, now here you go tripping again. But then I would look at him and be like, I'm like, did he just say she's tripping again? So I'm like, okay, let me see where this goes. Then it becomes, see, you always tripping, man. Every time that's why I don't like being. I'm looking at him like, bro, you can't be serious right now. So all of this toxic back and forth stuff is going because the woman has an assumption, or she has a guess that something's not right, and she's questioning it. And so now you're upset because she has a hunch or a vibe that is accurate. Women's intuition. Women's intuition. Which is usually right. And you want to defend your lie, and you want to defend your situations of your playboyism. You want to defend that. I'm like, what sense is it? So when she leave out the door, I'm like, bro, you can't keep doing that. That's a good woman. If she going out her hand on her business, she coming back home, you know what I'm saying? And she's skeptical on what you're doing. You got 4 phones, you got phones hidden everywhere, so I don't understand that part. And then it makes me say, so are you in a committed relationship with the woman or not? I would encourage a man to say, look, before we date, I like to have multiple women. You know what I'm saying? I like a multiple relationship women. I like a multiple women relationship. I hope you're cool with that. The reason why they don't be open in front, or the reason why most of them don't be open in front, because there are some dudes that just tell you that, look, this is what time it is with me, and I'm just letting you know before you can get in a car with me. This is where I stand in. But most dudes are afraid to do that because they're afraid that they would see a woman and they'd be like, man, I gotta crack her. And once you conquer and overcome that, then it's like, the interest is not there no more. So it's like, why even treat her that way if you knew that this is all you wanted to do? And it is hard because you got some women that feel like that, I'm gonna just come out here and do the same thing that y'all doing as men. But then it's like your emotional connection is not the same as men. No, y'all been taught to express yourselves. And so when you start to see things not in your favor, you're going to start expressing yourselves to a person that's completely shut off. And then hence becomes the complication. Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of young women, they come up with that idea already. So they're kind of conditioned to shut down and not really have the emotional connection that most women have, which is, like you said, it's scary because at that point, then you have young men and women running around doing
emotionless,
all kinds of stuff with whoever, and there's no emotion involved.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's the case, then there's no empathy, there's no compassion. You don't care if you hurt somebody, and you apparently don't care if somebody's trying to hurt you. So, then where does that lead us? It's not a good path.
No, not at all. And then it sets a bad example for anybody that's coming up. I do believe that it's important to try to condition those relationships if a person is going to do it. Now, the thing that I would say on both parts, for both parties, that if people come to the table and they just agree that they're going to hang out and chill or whatever it is, then be open about that. Nip that in the bud from the beginning. Do not say that, let's date, let's, make this work and make this happen. And you really don't have the goodest intentions on really doing that. And it's hard to separate the truth from that until you get to that part where this is not working.
Right.
But it's like sometimes most men realize it's not going to work from the jump. And when a woman sees this all the time from their experiences personally, or when they see it with their friends' experiences personally, and then it makes her question the relationship, which creates these barriers. Me being me, if I'm in a relationship, I'm a very loyal person. Let me rephrase the term loyal. I don't ever let's not say loyal. I don't want to say loyal no more because you'll never know if somebody's being loyal to you until a person's been showing righteousness to you, been real with you, all the way up to the point to where they died or got locked up for the rest of their lives. And they can't put themselves in a position to give you distrust or dishonor you, disloyalty.
Right.
Because we can be cool right now for the next 10 years. But me saying I'm loyal, I'm a loyal friend to Dorothy. Mm-hmm. And then in 3 more years after the 10 years, so a total of 13 years, I do something to just cut you and wrong you and everything. So it's a facade of me being loyal. So let's not say loyal until the end. It's just that we've been in a good, healthy, open communication about everything. But so don't say that you're going to be committed to somebody if you're not going to be committed to them.
Yeah.
And to any woman that's putting herself out there, and I do care about women enough to say that if you're going to put yourself out there, protect yourself to your best abilities and not assume that the guy's going to be, a flake or a flagrant person. But like you said, have those conversations. If you got to make him wait for 3 months to jump in that situation with you, to make him wait for 3 months, because if it is beneficial, then he'll wait for 3 months. But also be mindful that some dudes are going to play the field for that 3 months still. And then when he's jump in a relationship with that situation with you after that 3 months, and his intentions are still not great for you, and more so to the young women. And what I was going to say is, to any woman, I wouldn't raise a young woman, but y'all do what you want to do. But what I would say is that inspire young women to be more concerned about their well-being, because most dudes nowadays, they want to smash and grab, smash and dash, which is big. But some women make it feasible for them because they have that conversation, and the dude would hear her say, man, she sound like a player like me. You know what I'm saying? And so, boom, then that's what happened. That's what happened. Then the woman become who she was raised to be, as it was tapping into her emotions. Then it starts all over again.
Yeah. I see a little bit of that. When my nephew was in high school and I was going to football games and stuff, and I'm looking at the girls and I'm just like, man, my dad would have killed me.
Right.
I think like I keep saying, the generational thing, the way the kids are coming up now, which is not necessarily a knock to the parents, but it's just the way things are going now is a lot different than when me and you grew up.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, me personally, my dad especially still does, keeps close tabs on me. He's always, he was always really overprotective, and these little girls out here dressing like hoochies and stuff, I was not gonna fly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I couldn't even hang out with somebody like that.
Yeah, right. Come on now.
So, you do, as parents and adults in the community, you do have to try to mentor and steer these girls the right way too, because if the young men are coming up the way that we're saying they're coming up, and even how they are at our age,
mm-hmm.
you just, like I keep saying too, you can't trust everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And that's especially true, because if the girls are putting themselves out there and dressing a certain way, And you can't turn around and say, well, why is it her fault? She should be able to dress however she wants to dress.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess she can.
Mm-hmm.
But if she's mindful of how these dudes are out there,
come on, man,
then she's gonna pull back a little bit because it's bad enough walking down the street totally covered up, but then walking down the street not covered up, it's only gonna send him into a whole other mindset, and think that he's able to snatch and grab.
For real. And that's not the case.
Right.
And again, it's not what we're promoting. We're not promoting that you should have to cover up and why can't you wear what you want to wear. Right. But we got to say, what messages are we putting out there? Like when I go on Instagram, and if most women, so your mom raising a boy or whatever the case may be, sometimes you ignore the makeup of a young man that's growing. He gets to a puberty age, and if he's that type of man, he's trying to nail a wall, a couch, anything. He's just trying to get somewhere. He's trying to settle in something, And so when we realize that that's what he's doing, then the freelance space that they got on social media to where they can watch like porn for free. They just got access to all this stuff for free when, in order for us to even look at girly magazines growing up, you can't get a girly magazine. They used to have them wrapped up in the stores, but now you just cut your phone on, you get all these different links and everything that's going through the thing. And so when we start to say that, and then when I go to social media and I see women on social media, presenting themselves in a manner to where a young dude is watching. So like I said, if I never said it in the video before, I'm going to say it in this video now. If you're a grown woman and if I ask you, would you be shaking it and popping in front of a 12-year-old boy? Would you just literally walk out here and just throw your fronts all up in his facial? A woman would be like, no, I wouldn't do that. But you will go to social media where millions of young boys is accessible, able to see you doing such a thing. So you sending a message to his hormones that's telling him, I'm trying to get everybody. I want one like her. I want one like her. I need one like her. And so he'll never be satisfied because it's too much of a variety that's going on. And it's not that he doesn't see anything that's wholesome, like a very well put together woman, even though all women are well put together. But in presentation, how we present things, you have your differences. You have some more women that are conservative with themselves. They can keep it sexy. They can keep it classy, but they're not just exploiting themselves.
But in that 12-year-old boy's mind, he thinks that's how all women are. Mm-hmm. Maybe she might look like she's covered up now, but wait till I get her.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he's gonna think that's just it's gonna happen. Mm-hmm. You're gonna every woman is gonna be that way.
Yeah. Until he gets there and be like, oh, you're not like what.
And then he gets mad.
Yeah, he's hot about it. But I was expecting this or I was expecting that. It was like, well, no, don't expect that from because you see that as a normal thing in reality because
it's not normal.
It's not here. And what he should be doing is like, how do I keep and build a relationship with a woman like yourself? And that's what I feel that it becomes our part as men to help educate the young man on how to treat a woman, how to approach a woman. And the best way that you can treat a woman is by, for one, as a man, treat yourself right. Treat yourself right. Take care of yourself. Make sure that you know what you want from life from yourself to where you know how to provide certain necessities that come into an open relationship or closed relationships with each other. You know what to bring to the table. And if we're not spending the time educating our young men on what this looks like, then we're selling our young men down a rafted road that end up harming a lot of lives of young women that are coming up, and nothing to knock my brothers out here who get it how they live. Because, a lot of cats out here still think they players and still think they pimping. And why? Because they got a market of women out here who allow themselves to be in their environment, and to each their own, I'm not knocking it, do what you do. But, when you put yourself in a predicament to where if you're a woman and you find yourself crying all the time when you're by yourself, you got to reflect on the relationships you do have. And when a woman make a man feel like she's one of him, then that's what make him say, well, since you're trying to act like me, I already know what my intention is as a man, so I'm not even focused on a relationship with you.
Right.
I'm trying to do what you want to do now, which is what I was wanting to do from the jump.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Just get in there, get out of there, and we should both be cool. And it's like, we got to stop doing that as men if we really want to live long. I know I used to base a lot of my lack of commitments and relationships because I never wanted to live a long life, I get to looking at life and analyzing life and be like, I got better days in my sleep. You know what I'm saying? I done laid down sometimes and was mad that I woke up. So commitment is always hard for me too. because I'm a busy person. I have these large end results that I want, and I do want to share it with somebody. But sometimes I just don't have the patience from a woman that wants to build, because of what I'm involved with is a building process. Nothing that I'm aiming for is a light situation. It's something heavy that's going to take a strong woman to be able to balance this out with me until we get to that level. And it just never happens that way with me.
I think everybody kind of has an ideal picture in their mind of what the person that they're supposed to be with looks like, acts like, all that. And sometimes women can, and I can too, just be too picky.
Oh, come on.
And
both sides.
And yeah, they're looking for the idea in their mind. It might not be exactly that, which I understand, but it's like some people will say to a woman, well, you know, you're so pretty, you're all put together. How come you can't find a guy? Or why are you still single? Well, have you looked at the market lately? It's just like, you know, if and a lot of guys are upfront, and they'll say that they're just looking for a hookup or whatever. And by the way, I appreciate that more than being ghosted or you know,
ghosted. Like, being ghosted.
You know, don't talk to me like everything's cool, and then all of a sudden you don't want to respond no more, and because then it's like, well, where did that come from?
Right.
But that's the thing. Everybody can hide behind the internet and hide behind their text messages, and you know, you can just disappear instead of actually communicating with somebody and telling them why you don't think all of a sudden it's going to work, or why you're not interested, or whatever. So that's the big theme with all of our videos so far has been communication. You just need to be able to talk to each other when it comes to relationships. Sit down and lay out what it is that you want. And it may not go exactly as planned. Probably won't go exactly as planned. But at least you have some kind of foundation and you know where each other is coming from, what you're looking for. Hopefully you're both telling the truth, and then you can see what happens. But I just think that we kind of need to get back to, as mentors and people that have access to younger generation, to teaching them some kind of moral standards, because there are none anymore.
Right.
You know, and I, you know, I get it. Young men and women both are kind of running around trying to figure themselves out and trying to get what they can get. But at some point, when you get up in your 40s and 50s even.
Yeah.
Man.
You're still single, running around here talking about ready to mingle.
Figure it out.
We're like, I think you need to figure out what you're mingling with.
You know, I mean,
it gets bad after some time, and you know, you want to make sure that you're secure. And being secure, it means that who can you see yourself growing old with, and can you see yourself growing old with somebody? And sometimes we don't have that vision to see it as a long-term thing. And again, it is a scary situation. And I've noticed how, because one thing is men, and I've heard this from more women than I heard it from men. Men are sneaky, but women can be real sneaky. You get what I'm saying? Like, women has a way of being like extremely conservative and very introvert with a lot of the things that they got going on. And most of the times a woman's response, and the reason why she would do some of the things, is because she has this assumption that this is how dudes are. And you're not going to catch me lacking. You're not going to catch me slipping. Before you play me, I'll play you. So that way, when the stuff ended the relationship and I find you cheating, I'll be able to say, well, that's why your friend was somebody that I was, you know, and it's like, it's a bitter process. And so communication.
You can't go into
a relationship. Communication.
Yeah. You can't go into a relationship. I mean, you can have your guard up a little bit, but you can't go in like with your gloves on, ready. Yeah,
scrapping, boxing every day.
Because if you're doing that, then there's no point in even starting a relationship. Not like that, you know. And I understand. I do understand. You know, having your guard up and maybe not opening up so quickly, but if you really think that relationship, or want that relationship to go somewhere, you're going to have to be vulnerable. We talked about that in the last video.
Yeah.
And that goes for both sides. But I think because so many women get hurt oftentimes the same way with the same game. It's
Right.
like y'all pick it from a card box, like, you know. And I'm not saying that women aren't players too, because they are.
Some players out
I
there.
heard about some stuff. So I just think the game playing at some point in life for all of us just kind of has to stop, because if we're all trying, if anybody's trying to be better or do better for their life or do better for anybody else, then you can't be on that kind of a wavelength and expect good things to come to you too, because karma happens.
And karma, he or she, whichever one it is, it's real. And it would bite you in the long run. So I would say one of the things I was dating at one point in time, and the thing that threw me off from the dating, from that situation was, so I'm a pretty simple person. I don't have all these high expectations about what I want in a relationship to be this way, and it's got to go like this or whatever. But what I would say is that a few things that I am very stern about my relationship and my pet peeves are, I like conditioning, I like working out, I like staying healthy. I might not eat the best, but I like to condition, to make sure that my physical health and my physical capabilities are up to code. Verbiage is very important to me. I don't like to argue with nobody, and I see that most relationships that I have noticed, they come from a relationship that was raised and both parents was in the house and they argued a lot. So they feel like arguing back and forth or always having to do this is a healthy relationship to a degree, because that's what relationships do. And I'm like, I'm not familiar with arguments, so let's not argue. And the whole name thing, and this is one of my things that draw me from being in committed relationships. If I say stuff like, don't tell me to shut up, don't call me stupid, don't do all of the names, that most people are always running around here doing it. Don't do those things. Shut up, stupid. You're dumb. You're stupid. Shut up. Or I don't play those games. And if I say it in the beginning, I don't know how I'm supposed to say it. Do I say it softly? Do I say it with a
sign language? Don't you know?
Yeah. Is it sign language? Do I let you know in sign languages? And so when I say it and it's repetitive in a relationship, and then I don't find a person trying to catch themselves or stop themselves from doing something I'm just like really drawing in the sand about, and I'm like, I can't keep doing this because this is not what I signed up for. Now, if I'm in a relationship or if I'm dating and then people know that these is my pet peeves and I see that you do it, but I see you trying to correct it, then you also got to let me know where's your line in the sand there too, so I can be mindful of how do I approach that situation, so that we could always have a healthy go back to relationship. And it is about being vulnerable and putting all of your cards on the table, letting the woman know where you stand from the jump. Now, I would let you know where I stand from the jump, and if that becomes a problem, then, that's because of the way that both components was raised up. Emotions will kick in real fast. And then it's our parts as men to be mindful of. If that emotion's on the table, we can't get that upset because we should have knew that it would turn into that situation. Yeah. Probably babbling a little bit, but you get where I'm coming from.
But yeah, I get that, because that's the situation that I've been in. Like, you lay, I don't want to call it ground rules, but you kind of lay down ground rules.
Yeah.
What you'll tolerate, what you won't tolerate, what you want, what you don't want, how you want things to flow, and what's going to make you walk out the door. And if you be open, upfront, and honest at the very beginning when you're having the get to know you conversations, then it's going to save you a whole lot of time in the end. Because if you could just at that moment be open, totally open, and say, look, this is what it is that I want, and this is not going to work for me. And the other person says, okay, I'm cool with that. But then 3 or 4 months down the line, all of a sudden you expect the person to change. Because it's like, well, but I told you in the beginning, this is what it is. So yeah, we can grow in relationships, but you can't expect for a person to just totally flip their whole, personality or their morals or whatever it is that you can't expect that from somebody.
Especially when just because you did, you expect them to do it too. It doesn't work like that.
And if you decide that you want to, alter how you run things in life because you want to try to be with that person, that's on you. You can't blame them because they told you in the beginning, if you can't get with this, then that's
you can get with that.
Right.
That's old school. Y'all probably wouldn't know about that. A lot of y'all tuning in
Right.
And then the other thing too, I'm gonna say is trust. That's one of the biggest barriers on both parts.
Yeah.
Both parts can't trust each other, so they don't look for anything less long lasting. As much as we want it, we have these trust issues. Like when a woman walk out the door, there's so many games being played in real life that it's hard for a man to be like, man, I don't know, bro. It's just, and a lot of the times dudes is because you're doing something that you shouldn't be doing. So you just automatically feel guilt on her part because of your action. If I'm doing it, she has to be doing it. Or if she's doing that, then he has to be doing it. And some of the times that's not the case at all. Our assumptions can get in the way and us assuming things versus just having open dialogue or conversation. And most dudes need to stop running from conversation.
Yeah.
Most dudes run from conversations. I would ask, I'm not telling, but I would ask women in this situation, being that you guys are so open to just sharing how you feel, work with us, because the trauma, and again, the trauma that we have is that I want to express myself, but that it becomes complicated to just do that. And I do it. I'm gonna let you know how I feel, where I'm coming from. I'm gonna tell you flat out. You'll know exactly what's on Threat's mind and what's in my heart. Because I don't believe in shedding my true feelings and my true intentions in a relationship. I feel that I want to be as honest as I possibly be, so that way there's no miscommunication. And if it do switch around, it won't be because I switched up our original conversation. It'll be because somebody switched up, but I still have to be mindful of why would a person switch up, because feelings start to get involved. And one of the things I learned from my old head was that if you fooling around with somebody and you plan on having a relationship, understand health concepts. What is a person's health record? What is their family health? What do their parents suffer from? What is their grandparents? Is there even hepatitis in the family? Heart disease or any of that, so that people can start molding their relationship in accordance to what their future could potentially look like.
Right.
And people don't want to do that. They just want to jump in the box plan and saying, get out there after the castle's being made so the water can come and just tear up the castle,
That's a good idea. I've seen, I don't know what show it is, but I remember seeing that on the sitcom. Like they had this girl had a whole checklist of, I think it was Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Hillary was trying to find a man.
Yeah.
She's like,
got flowers? Yeah.
So, but that's a good idea.
It is.
It's, especially if you want to have kids, because you want to know what you can expect your kids to possibly come out with from not only yourself, but your significant other too. So, yeah.
And I'm going to add two more things. Okay. I love these long videos. They're going to be short at some point, but I'm glad y'all allowing us to just put it out there. Just watch it in spurts if you can. But one of the things that I do want to say is that in both parts, when we're looking at the relationships, be willing to, like you said, communicate, get to know each other, date for about, give yourself 30 days. And there are some people that I'll be watching this video, and I'm not saying none of y'all, but there might be people that have come across the video, or you can just go on Instagram, look on Facebook, any social media outlet, and just listen to some of the expressions that both men and women make when it comes down to talking. And then you see what type of monster that we're really dealing with. Yeah. Because when I see some women like, I don't give a snap, I'm going to just, whatever, I'm going to do what I want. I'm a grown woman. If I want to just buy that, then that's what I'm going to do. Then it's like, dang, if she's saying it as a woman who we want to protect and make sure that there's, away from that toxic man, but she's like, if I want the toxic man, this is what I'm gonna do to get the toxic man, and so she's gonna carry and represent and present her way in a way that'll pull that type of person. Is because if you're a real dude that doesn't have the energy for that, if you see a woman walking by and you felt that she wasn't up to your standards, then you're not even gonna waste your time, regardless of how good she look or any of the case. You're looking for morals and you're looking for whatever the case may be, but it's not to say that, because this is the issues that I run into. What's so demoralizing about her acting? Okay, well, it might not be demoralizing to her, or him, but it's an issue that we complain about. Yeah. Most women say that I wouldn't let my daughter go around here looking like that or acting like that. And so what I'm saying is, why is it so healthy for you to say it? And then I can't say it because I'm looking for the same thing that women is looking for in other women: powerful, strong, stand-up women that take care of themselves and do X, Y, and Z. Just like I would like to see a man that represents himself in a manner that he's honest and open about everything he want to do, his decision. He's got all his cards on the table. He's not doing something on the side to play over a woman and take advantage of her. And like you said, the basis of this is, why is it hard for men to be in a committed relationship and men just want to do the fling concept? It's a lot of different barriers that comes into why men are the way that they are and why they lack more commitment than women do. But what I would say is that men, if you do say that you want to be in a relationship, then make sure that you're invested into this for the long term. If you're not in it for the relationship, then make sure that you're upfront and honest about that, because that at least give a woman an understanding of what she's putting herself in or what type of situation she's getting herself in. That way, if it does hit the fan and it doesn't pan out the way that she wanted, then she would have to immediately accept the fact that she knew what she was signing herself up from the jump. And so when it ended that way, she can't be too hard on herself. She's got to accept the fact. And don't jump into no relationship hoping that a person would change because it's you or because you guys are dating now and you done cater to his needs and now he's going to be the person that you always want him to be. It won't work like that. Being with a dude, and you got to be mindful of what you want for yourself. And that's what I would say to a woman. If you want a man to be committed to you, then be mindful of what you want to do for yourself.
Yeah.
Because if you have a standard for yourself that's not too far-fetched, because there's a such thing as a far-fetched reality of a relationship person that you will want, don't be too far-fetched with your pickings, your variety of choices, because there are some good men out here that are looking for good women. And when you see them, you would know who they are because of how you're positioning yourself, because you know what you're not going to tolerate. And so that way it helps you set the playing field for yourself in a brighter light.
And
if that makes sense.
I don't know if this is really on the same, but I have a thought.
I like a thought.
When you mentioned, how people say that they wouldn't let their daughter do this or that. Men need to think about that. Like whether you have a daughter or not. If you had a daughter, would you want somebody to treat her the way you're treating the women that you're involved with? Because if you don't, then that's how you can figure out you're wrong.
That's how you can figure out you're wrong. How you can figure that. You heard it right here. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
Because if I wouldn't let my daughter do that, ain't no way in heck. Why should I be out here doing somebody else's daughter like that if I wouldn't?
Right. Because you can't be, and if you're going to be an example of the kind, because a lot of people say, and it's true, that to a certain extent anyway, if the father is involved in the daughter's life, or a male figure is in the daughter's life, a good one, or even a bad one.
Use an example.
they are setting an example for the kind of guy that the daughter is going to be looking for,
or not looking for,
right? Depending on her mindset. She could just think that the standard is, he's seen 2-3 different girls, so why I should be able to date, whoever I want out of the class this week and then next week. And it's going to start, middle school. So you got a long way to go with trying to give the right influence to these girls out here. And if you don't want a dude to treat her that way, then you need to figure out what standard to hold yourself to.
Yeah, I would agree. And most people will come and say, well, if you're not in a healthy relationship, how can you talk to somebody about a relationship? It's easy sometimes. You just carry the conversation about how honest you have to be with yourself. That's the bottom line. What do you want for yourself? If you know what you want for you, then you're going to automatically know what you want from the other person. Because what you want from yourself, if you don't have it, then a person can come to the table and help bring that to the table. And if they don't possess that quality, which you'll be able to know if they possess the quality or not through communication and through talking to each other, you'll be able to pan it out, but just jumping into a situation off the tops and then mad because, like you said, you didn't have the conversation before, but you done already done this part. So now, because when everything else is involved, it's not about a connection off of communication. It becomes a connection off of intimate involvements with each other. And that's not the honest part of everything. That's just an action or an activity that took place that you want to base this opportunity that you guys do have, when all opportunities should be based off of trust, open communication with each other, and vulnerability from both parts. So
can I make an opposite point real quick?
Please.
Then we can
wrap it up.
Yeah. So women always complain that they can't find a good guy. There's no good men out there, whatever. Okay, so if you're a single mother, or just a mother that has boys, raise the boys into those good men. Tell them about moral standards and tell them about, how they did chivalry, how they should treat women, Because if you don't want that to continue, if you have a problem finding it or whatever the case may be, but you have young boys yourself that you're bringing up, then make sure that they know so that this whole thing doesn't just blow up within the next couple of generations, because it's already going downhill.
Very much.
So, and if it's hard to find, if you are a single mother, it's hard to find good male figures to have in their lives. But then you got somebody like Threat that's exactly what he's trying to do. So, there's people out there that can set those good examples. You just have to search for them.
You got to search for them. And the first way you search is search yourself, because once you become that mirror reflection of what you want to see, you know what you're not going to see.
Right.
And it's all out there to hurt us and harm us, but it's also out there to build us up. Yeah. And I do want to say a strong appreciation and a shout out to the ones who are in committed relationships and are growing. I just encourage you guys to just keep open communication with each other. Don't keep secrets from each other, regardless of what they are. Sometimes in a relationship, you're afraid to say something because it might run a person off. That's why you have the conversation before you guys even move forward. Because if they don't run from what you confessed to them in the beginning, then the chances of them running in the long run will be slim to none. But to women, understand, I want to ask you, to women that just women, you guys got it hard, So if you're a woman that has it really hard in relationship and in society, what you guys do me a favor for the sake of other brothers, just try your best to work on your endeavors and try your best to work on your challenges and try to overcome this defeat that sometimes you guys feel that you're under because you are in a battle consistently day in and day out. Just work on yourself, strengthening yourself and not waiting on somebody to come and strengthen you and build you up. Strengthen yourself so that way when you do get a right man, he'll know that he's dealing with a strong woman and he would know how to approach that. And to all men, be mindful of the situation that women are in. It's something that we created and we can't keep ignoring that fact. This is a fact. Even if you're a man, I didn't do it, man. I'm just here. You're a man. You have a lot to do with it. So it comes with the territory. So be mindful of your role and the transitions that you need to be making with yourself. Because as men, once we start changing ourselves and the way we think about things and how we observe and view life, then we can contribute and bring something more productive and healthy to the table and make a woman feel that she can trust you and comfortable because you want the trust and you want that portion from a woman, but it's going to take some time to really build that. And when you do come across those bumps in the road, then talk through it, work through it, communicate through it. Because if she's the one, like you say she is, don't say that she's the one. And the moment you face with a challenge, then you're ready to opt out.
Yeah,
that's not how it works. So
the whole point of a relationship, you're going to go through ups and downs and bumps in the road, but that's what's going to strengthen the relationship. Yes, indeed. Somebody said, "What fear stops people from being true to themselves and others." That's true.
Very true.
That's the whole thing about working on yourself. And like I said, everybody's going to go into a relationship somewhat damaged, but you have to be able to figure out how to work that out or help each other work that out or whatever. But
it's doable.
Be open about it. And it is fearful because you don't know, especially in the beginning. You don't know what that person is.
You don't know what 4 years from now looks like.
They can use that against you if they really want to, but that's the thing. You have to put yourself out there and figure out how to find what you want.
And then cut the doubt out. Don't doubt. Stop doubting. I would just wait until it crash or just till it fall apart. I don't want to doubt. Don't go into a relationship doubt because our own self-doubt about something that we see potentially going wrong, we're pulling that doubt, we're pulling that energy to come in and be exactly what we are assuming it to be. This relationship ain't gonna last. Yeah, well, it's not gonna last, man, if you keep saying that. When you see the problems come to the table, say, man, anytime a problem comes to the table, we got to talk about it. And then you have to be open to talk about it. It's not a one-sided conversation when you have discrepancies or disputes about a relationship. That's 50-50 in understanding. Equality is in that conversation. You got a point of view, that person got a point of view, and both of y'all should be heard, but not just heard. Both of y'all should be heard and actively listened to. We got to hear each other out. And in regards to this, so what you're saying is this. So when you say that, this is what I'm feeling. That's how most people do it. You got to take your time out and chill with that person and really get to know people and keep doing it throughout your relationship.
Yeah.
Just because you've been together for 20 years, 20-year-old relationships are relationships that check in with each other every so often to have those uncomfortable conversations about where we're at and we're going to keep going and how we're going to keep going. So it's doable, very doable. And we can all do it if that's what you really want out of a relationship. And If that's not what you want out of a relationship, like polygamy, if you want just multiple women and whatever that looks like, then be open and honest about that. Don't pull the woman into something that she's not prepared for. And if you pull her into something that she's prepared for, then also be willing to deal with the emotions that come from it, because stuff did change, you know. And so,
oh, one more point.
I like points.
And I know we're running long, but
movies are longer than this, and I know you guys like movies, so let this be something that you can enjoy.
You said, you know, like you use polygamy as an example. If by chance, I think my let's see, Instagram just stopped. That's cool. If cool. By chance you are something other than heterosexual or just gay, if you're bi, if whatever your lifestyle and your preference and all that is, you need to be honest with people about that too.
Please do,
because that's a whole new thing that's going on, and people can get hurt over that.
Really,
like physically hurt over that,
and literally taken out over that stuff.
So, and you don't want to see that happen. And that's not knocking nobody. That's just, you got to let people know.
Be honest.
Some people just ain't into it, and it's not a disrespect thing. It's just you have your preference, and so does somebody else.
So be honest with your preference.
Yeah.
You know, to each their own, but it's real. Be honest with your preference and let people know what they're getting themselves into, and let them decide on if they want to move further with that. And again, the whole topic was, why is it complicated for men? Start this video from the beginning and ride it all the way through the end. You know what I'm saying? It should give you some light and information on things. So if you just tapping in right now, 432 frequency all the time. We on good vibes. We sharing good content, sharing good conversations. We're going to go through and read over the comments that we see up in the box. But start from the beginning, and just like you would take your time out to watch a movie that just entertains you, take your time to watch this video that should highlight and give us some more education on situations that we're dealing with. We can all learn from each other, and so that's what we're doing these videos for, so we can learn from each other. You know.
All right.
That's my spiel.
We haven't figured out next week yet.
But we will tell you. But I will tell you right now, hashtag Combs for Tacoma. District 3, T-shirt man, over on 9th and MLK. Check him out, man. Good person, good quality. He brings a lot to the table for a home, as a family person, as a business person, as an activist in the community, and as a person that just supports wholesome relationships and community. So support him. Is David Combs, District 3. You know the perimeters. If you don't, research it and figure out if you fall into that category, which a lot of you people from Tacoma, the Hilltop, downtown Tacoma area, a little bit of Fircrest and the Tacoma Mall area, this is the person that you guys want to pull into your table and be a part of his movement, and make sure that you get into the habits of wanting to vote. If you never voted before, this is an opportunity for you to do so. And also, 253 Stephen Nacarado. We're going to start having other people here with logos and brands. So the 253 Heart, it's a brand. It's amazing in Tacoma. So we love our area code, and we support it to the fullest. So don't be afraid to embrace where you're at, even if you're not born here. Embrace it, because you're here to get the love from the city that you're living in, regardless of where you're at. That's my time. I don't have too much more to say, because we can keep talking all day.
Sure can. But it's time to eat.
It's time to get our grab on.
Yeah.
And so I love y'all, man. CMCC, the movement, change media, change culture. Again, check us out on Facebook, CMCC 1080. Check us out on YouTube, CMCC 1080 TV. And our Instagram is
CMCC 1080.
Look at all them CMCC 1080s around here.
Simple.
Love y'all, stay kosher and all that good stuff, and we out.
All right.
Yeah. Let me go ahead and chime mine out real quick. You know I have a hard time over with this stuff.